what measures will be taken to guarantee the safety of school children as well as staff of schools. This is why this edition of Perspectives is beaming spotlight on this issue. And we had invited the officials of the NSCD and the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, which has the mandate and has the National Safe School Response Coordination Center at the national level and is also cascaded down to the states. That is why they're here in the studio to share thoughts with us. Efforts to get officials of the Ministry of Education to also join us on this edition fade. But we hope that the officials of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps who are here with us will share insight with us that will benefit the entire Benue people on issues concerning safety of school children, staff, and everyone that is involved in school administration. These are the issues we shall be focusing on. As we always do, Perspectives is an audience interactive program. You can phone in or send a message to contribute, and we'll avail you the lines shortly. Let's go on a short break, and once we are back, we'll begin our engagement, and later in the course of the program, we'll avail you the lines as well as the time which you can phone in or start sending messages. Kindly stay tuned, dear listener. We'll be back shortly. Thank you very much for being there, dear listener. Let's begin the engagement. Superintendent of Corps, Ejaliku, I'd like to begin with you. Can they give us an understanding of what the National Safe School Response Coordination Center is all about as being coordinated by the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps?
Thank you very much. Listeners, the essence, the totality of what the National Safe School Response Coordination Center came out of an effort over a period of time that the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps conducted nationwide a vulnerability studies of schools. You are aware that the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps have certain areas of mandate that have been cut out. And one of those areas is the protection of critical national assets and infrastructure. A holistic solution in providing enough security around that particular aspect of our core mandate. That's what gave rise to what we have today as the Safe School Initiative. But before that time, you were aware in 2013, when we had the Chibok Girls adoption, the federal government of Nigeria began to look at a more robust way of providing a safe learning environment for people's students across the nation. When we presented the report of our vulnerability studies, the government, this, as an agency that has the core mandate in the protection of critical national assets, we're already doing so much. Therefore, on the 13th of February, 2023, the then Minister of Finance and National Planning, Dr. Ahmed Zainab, CON, launched the National Safe School Response Coordination Center at the Corps National Headquarters. Now, from the launch of the Safe School Center, the honors lies on the Corps as the lead agency in the protection of schools nationwide. Now, that's not to say, I tell people all the time, in security business, there's no buffer zone for a particular security organization. But you will need to have somebody who leads the process. And that's why the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is leading the process, because we have the core mandate to protect critical national assets. And let me tell you that humans are cardinal in the protection of any critical national asset, because they are the most national assets any nation can talk about. When you take the people away, the nation cannot exist. So we, as a core, is doing in that direction to champion the cause of having a safe learning environment for all schools. For us in Benue, we have narrowed it down. A lot has happened here in Benue.
Okay, which is what we shall be talking about as we go along. Let me come to you, Deputy Superintendent of Corps, Naka Tetindi. You are the coordinator of State Response Coordination Center on Safe Schools. Give us an understanding of what your center has been able to do with regards to sensitizing people, Benue people, particularly on safe schools measures.
Thank you very much. He has just given an overview of what the Safe School project is all about. And it's a project in phases. At this phase, we are into advocacy and awareness creation. And after the awareness creation, we are going into the phase of deployment of kinetic and non-kinetic measures. At the state level, we have done some trainings. We held one last year, September, at Government College Makodi. And as I earlier said, it is on advocacy. It is an awareness creation. We discovered that at some point in time, where these attacks have taken place, like in Borno State, Yobe, Katsina, the response time it took a long time for the security agencies to respond. And the essence of the center is to incorporate every critical stakeholders. That is the security agencies, the schools, that's the end users of this particular project, the host communities to be part of this. It's a whole society approach. Everyone is included. It's like a spider web where the response time will be close to the center. That is why the center is being given. At the state level, we are still working on it. The governor has demonstrated the program here, although the center is yet to stand. For now, we are carrying advocacy in various schools. Recently, we went to about 30 schools across the local governments, 23 local governments, where advocacy and awareness creation was taking place. And we tend to continue on that, pending when these facilities on ground and equipment are there to receive complaints and response as well to school emergencies. Thank you.
Particularly, I would like you to speak to us further. You said the center is yet to stand.
Yes.
Why is it yet to stand?
Okay, let me come in a little.
Yes.
On the 19th of July, 2023, at the inception of this government, the government came in May 29th. Because of the importance attached to kickstarting the center, the National Safe School Response Coordination Center, the way it is structured, they say it is a web-like structure. We need to domesticate what we have at the national level in each of the states of the Federation. Now, on the 19th of July, 2023, the National Safe School Coordinator, Ajia Halima Alia, in company of the State Commandant Yakubu Ibrahim, met with the governor, and it was launched here in Benue. Now, the moment it was launched, the governor immediately brought in the Ministry of Education, and the highlight of the discussion at the meeting include the setting up of a state working committee on the Safe School project to be chaired by the Director of Education Support Services. And that he's been so helpful, he's been so thorough in his assistance to getting the center up and running. Other members were drawn from representatives of civil society organizations, security agencies, the schools, and like that. Now, the national coordinator particularly made a request for budgetary allocation. The governor, at the close of the training he talked about in September, gave the command, the corps, his word to set up the center. A particular facility in our office is already approved for it. Everything that has to do with the takeoff is already being put in place. But that is not to say the rest, the Safe School program is not already working. It's a massive process that is already ongoing. Just as we talked, he just gave you a little insight. We just finished an advocacy visit, sensitization to 30 schools selected across the 23 local government. Now, one of the things that made Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps a veritable tool for the National Safe School Response Program is because of our spread. If you go around the state, there's no local government in the state where you won't find our structure. Now, we are utilizing the structure to do a massive work on the Safe School initiative. And that's why, in fact, we made it a point of duty to expand the structure of the command. He talked about the response rate. That's the most biggest challenge in the issue of providing security for schools around Nigeria. Benue is not an exception. So we want to bridge the response rate. And how do you bridge it? You need to bring security closer to the doorstep of the people. So as a command, we're even expanding the structure. We're opening new divisions, opening new outposts to ensure that once we have an emergency, we can be able to gather intelligence effectively. We can be able to respond effectively. Now, it's a multi-stakeholders approach. The schools are involved, the PPUs are involved, students are involved, parents are involved, teachers are involved, civil society organizations are involved. So, and we know at the end of this, when we come on strength fully, when the center begins to run, the center is something that you will have a representative of the Nigerian Police Force, the DSS, every other security agencies, the military. You have, even from the Ministry of Education, you have representatives from Arms Corps, so that when we have issues, we can easily cross-fertilize ideas, response to it from a holistic perspective.
We'll talk about the synergy of the multi-stakeholder engagement, as you mentioned. But let me come back to you, Deputy Superintendent of Corps, Naka Tetini. Once again, as the coordinator of the center, you mentioned to us earlier that 30 schools, you had just concluded a sensitization advocacy visit to 30 schools. When you engaged with the schools, and given that they are selected, what strategies do you put forward before them with regards to sensitizing them about safety of children in schools, students, teachers, all the staff involved? Because you have not covered Benue all yet, based on what you have said, right?
Yes.
So please.
Thank you. For now, we have security. There's a manual for security tips. We discuss with them on how to respond, maybe in situations of school emergencies like hostage taking, fire outbreaks, in times of abduction. We have a manual for that. And it will interest you to know that the most important way or effective way of ensuring security in schools is by having knowledge of the security situation on ground. I'll give an example. Hassan Bangash, a Pakistani 14-year-old schoolboy, because he had knowledge on how terrorists looks like. On his way to school on a fateful day, he met a strange student, and he suspected that young man to be a terrorist because of the way he was dressing. He confronted him, engaged him. Unfortunately, the suicide bomber detonated the bomb. He killed Hassan. But one good thing is that about 450 students were on assembly ground on that morning. So it is because of the awareness that Hassan decided to take that bold step. Our young people need to have this consciousness. On your way to school, do you talk to strangers? In your school, how do you conduct yourself? And one of the key things we always discuss with them is that if you see something strange, say something. This is one key aspect of the advocacy we are taking around. We have our hotlines, our websites. All schools need to register on this website and emails. We have provided opportunity where you can sit in your bedroom and call us. We have provided opportunities where you can contact any other person, the traditional rulers, the vigilant groups, which are part of even the market women. It's a whole society approach. As I keep on saying, it's like a spider web. Everybody's involved. You are involved. I'm involved. And if you see something, say something. That is the strategy.
Okay. Deputy, Superintendent of Corps, Michael Ejaliku, let's speak particularly the kind of strategies that teachers, school children, and students need to adapt with regards to guaranteeing their safety. Maybe in a simplified way that
Yes.
those listening to us, we understand that faced with this particular situation, this is what and what should be done in the immediate.
Thank you very much. When we did the vulnerability study of schools, particularly here in Benue, I want to narrow it to Benue,
Yes.
we discovered that most schools are without perimeter fencing. Most schools are without security guards. Most schools are without proper form of any lightning system. Now, just as the coordinator said, we want to simplify it as much as possible. We don't want it to start here in Benue. And that's why we have started. The advocacy, people should be able to know basic things like, who is this stranger around us? You know, in pre-colonial society, you don't have society policed the way we have it policed. But security was most effective because the consciousness of people are there. I schooled here in Nigeria, particularly here in Benue. We didn't have the consciousness, and that's what we want to bring home. That a pupil on his way to school should be able to identify something that looks like threat and call it out. And for us as a security agency, the security agencies are not spirit. We work with information. Teachers should be able to give out the right information. Communities should be able to give out the right information. Most of the attacks we've had in other parts of Nigeria didn't drop from the sky. It was a systematic process. That systematic process can be halted by good intelligence. That's why we tell people all the time, for us, information to us is what blood is to life. So when you give out the information, we want the student to have the enough consciousness to give out information. I was leaving my house this morning. Everybody around my neighborhood know that I am somebody who is conscious about my environment. Let students be conscious of the environment first of all. If you came to school this morning, and the end of school today, you got home, within your community, you see strange faces that you've not seen. There should be people for you to talk to. You have your parents to talk to. You have traditional rulers to talk to. So once we drive home, the first thing is information. It's what people, the information you have that drives your life. Whatever you want to do, once you don't have the right information, you can't get to do it. Then another issue is in the advocacy, what do you do in an event of an attack? For instance, we don't want it to come to Benue. If we have it in Benue, for instance, just as we have in other parts of Nigeria as mass adoption, we are teaching the students on how to respond to this attack. For instance, you don't panic. You don't run helter-skelter. One of the things we are telling them, you pin down. Now, at this stage of the Safe School initiative, we are driving home what we call the non-kinetic approach. We have a garment of activity. Just at the center, we are training Safe School response team that will respond at the fingertips. Now, the core has been structured in a way that all it takes, for instance, we have a female strike force. They are part of the initiative. If anybody around Makurdi in the last couple of months, the squad is moving from schools on the issues of their safety, even issues of drug abuse, teaching them even issues of bullying in school. It's a whole gamut of issues. So we want to drive it home with information, get the consciousness there, then we continue gradually. There's need to deploy kinetic. Of course, there will be time when we need to deploy force. But the school environment cannot be militarized. You can't make the school learning environment in a situation where it becomes the students will get frightened. So that's why we are using advocacy. We are talking to them and all that.
Okay, dear listener, in case you just tuned in, you've been listening to Perspectives on Agate Radio 95.5 Star FM. Makudi. We are discussing sensitization on safety of schools in Benue State. And we've been joined here in the studio by the Public Relations Officer of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Benue State Command, Superintendent of Corps, Michael Ejeliku, is leading us in the discussion. We also have the coordinator, State Response Coordination Center on Safe Schools of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Benue State Command, Deputy Superintendent of Corps, Naka Tetindi. These are the guests we have leading us on the subject matter, and you too can lend your voice to the issue we are discussing. The line through which you can call us at 10 o'clock is 08143359292, 08143359292. That line will be available at 10 o'clock, and once it is time to make your contribution, you will have to, what you need to do. Meanwhile, the line for text messages, WhatsApp chats is already activated for your messages and questions if you have them. The number through which you can send your contribution or a question on chat or on the regular SMS is 09126 999 404. 09126 999. Informed also that the program is streaming on all our social media platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. Kindly search out Agate Radio and follow the live stream conversation on Facebook, YouTube, as well as Instagram to be a part of what we are discussing. You may drop your comments there. If they are related to the subject matter we are discussing, we will take your contribution. Let me come back to you, Deputy Superintendent of Corps, Naka Tetindi. You have witnessed of recent the mass adoption of students in certain parts of the country. If we should particularly point out the Sokoto incident, Kaduna, and other parts of the country that are being reported, what particular measures, given that we have this center now, what measures are you putting in place to forestall an occurrence of such incident here in Benue State?
Thank you very much. That is why I said advocacy is key. As the PRO was saying, we don't militarize the school environment. That's not the proper way to do it. It's not a proper strategy. What in those areas is unfortunate, and we expect and hope that we don't find it here. That is why we are up and doing to talk to our people. I told you we have hotlines, emails, where to call to. In some cases, people don't really know how to report these issues. These bandits or terrorists, they are human beings like me and you. For them to mastermind such attacks, they must have been hovering in a particular area for some time. People must have been seeing the activities. And where to report to, they don't know. So it is important we go out. People have our lines, our website, our emails. When you do report such incidences, definitely something will be done. The center has the capacity to channel to appropriate quarters where such emergencies could be curbed. And I do believe in Benue, hopefully, with the effort of His Excellency, before sooner or later we are going to kickstart properly. And I don't believe we are going to have such incidents. Thank you.
Let me come to you once again. Yes. When you said the issues should be reported,
yes,
do you wait until these attacks or mass adoptions or any security breach occurs to be reported or being forestalled in the first place? Because it may be difficult in the event that it has occurred already reporting.
Yes.
Let's talk about the strategies to forestall such attacks in the first place.
From the vulnerability study, we discovered two key areas. One of is that the schools were not having perimeter fencing, which is an access to these terrorists. If you remember, I think last year in Uganda, when some terrorists stormed a particular school, they tried to break through the female hostel, but because there was a strong perimeter fencing, they went to the boys' hostel, which the gate was open. They entered and killed almost 37 students, kidnapping about 6. So schools need to have perimeter fencing. They need to have CCTV cameras. And in the survey, about 76% of that survey shows that the schools were poorly manned. The security personnel that were there were highly untrained. And this is one area we need to also look into. Schools need to bring in trained security guards that have security expertise to be able to detect what is going on in the environment. These are areas we are looking at.
Okay. Superintendent of Corps Ejaleku, is there something you would like to add to this, particularly the strategies in your command, the center? You also have a center of the Response Coordination Center for Safe Schools.
Yes.
What you are doing and what strategies?
The whole government of the Safe School Initiative is not to sit back and allow it happen, then you respond.
Yes, yes.
The essence is to prevent it from happening. It's not something. It's not medicine after death. It's something that we put a solution before it happens. Now he just talked about the vulnerability study. In his analysis, just as Agate Radio is doing right now, this is one of your roles that you are playing in ensuring that we don't have issues of mass adoption happen here in Benue. Therefore, we have made recommendation on the part. I will speak on the recommendations we have made to stakeholders, particularly subnational government like that. Of course, we have the Benue State government. The State Ministry of Education must make it a point of duty for certain schools that we have identified as high-risk schools. Why have we tagged them high-risk schools? Because they lacked basic perimeter fencing, they lacked basic security installations like CCTV cameras, basic somebody manning a normal security guard. Now, schools need to begin to consciously provide these facilities within their schools, because you know that the numbers of security personnel around Nigeria, put all the security agencies together, you have a United Nations prescription of 1 security man to 8 persons. We have not gotten there yet. Now, while we are getting there, what should society do for us? For us as an agency, as Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, we have already trained people to respond. Now, when you see something around your neighborhood and you give the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps a timely intelligence, an actionable intelligence, we would have stopped something. But you also have a role to play. Schools need to begin to look inward now. Thank God, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is also the agency that has been saddled with the responsibility of training private guards of private guard companies around the country. Now, we recommend in our recommendation that let it be a private security guard that has been trained, that has been profiled by the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, because we have given them basic training on how to man schools, what and what to do at the gate of a school, what and what to do within a school premises. So these are the things we are currently doing to ensure that we don't have it to happen here in Benue. If every stakeholder, school owners, school proprietors, the government, people must make basic condition around schools. We must bring it. We must ensure those basic things come to stay around schools. Somebody should not just be given the opportunity to just clear a vast area of land and set up a school. There should be basic infrastructure available. Now, once you begin to do that, we should be able to, in certain percentage, curb the issues of the vulnerability. Now, Why do we have the attacks? We have the attack because there's a vulnerability. Now, when you take away the vulnerability, you have done what? You have reduced the attack. So let's take away the vulnerability. Then every other thing can come into it.
Okay. When you mentioned about your vulnerability study and identifying certain schools at high risk schools, what makes these schools high risk schools and which part of the state are they predominant so
Thank-
that the attention of the authorities could be drawn to it further?
Thank you very much. The vulnerability study was aimed at getting certain data scientifically. Now, and we got massive data. About 58% of the study, we sent out questionnaires around, got our men to do physical sighting. Now, we discovered most do not have perimeter fencing. Most schools in Benue does not have perimeter fencing. Those that even have at all, the perimeter fencing is not fortified enough. Now, then we have situation where some that even have perimeter fencing, there are no basic installation of basic security gadgets, things like CCTV cameras. We also found out that most of the schools do not even have security guards, meaning that if there's a perimeter fence at all, if there's a mini gate at the school, everybody who comes in can go out. Everybody who can just stroll into the school and stroll out. So these are the issues. Now, where in Benue, it cuts across the 23 local government. This vulnerability of schools cut across the 23 local government. From Ukum to Kwande to Apa, Agatu to Ukpa to Ogbadibo to Oju. These schools are banned. So we have made recommendations already. Let's reduce the vulnerability. We may not have, because he said it's a process, it's something that has been patterned. The Safe School Response, it's an action plan that will be implemented in stages. Now, what we need to do, stakeholders, anchors, these schools are not only the schools in Benue are not only public schools. They are schools owned by private individuals. But government must make it a policy statement that certain conditions must be available before a school is given the opportunity to practice, to be up and running. The way society, the school system is something that you need to have. It takes a vast area of land to have, if you want to put, because of this kind of facility you want to put, the sport facilities. So most schools were sited not even within, except for schools that been there for ages. But for schools that just came up, that they look for that vast area of land in somewhere in hinterland that is far away from town. Now, that makes it vulnerable. Now, you need to put certain things on the ground there. Effective perimeter system. I went to a school, I don't want to mention, so that it's not like I'm speaking for the excellence I've seen in the school. A school here in Makurdi. From their gate, there's a CCTV camera. Beautiful perimeter fencing. That somebody will have some difficulty scaling across. Now, the school is patterned. A good internal security system as humans who monitor what these students are doing. So we have gone away from the era that schools will be left just like that. We must provide these basic things to ensure that we take away the vulnerability. Now, the key word is take away the vulnerability. So that's what Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is advocating for. And as we continue to do this, we want to bring everybody on board. so that even civil society organization will begin to visit school and say, we need certain basic conditions here so that your school is not accessible to anybody that will just come take pupils away.
Okay. Deputy Superintendent of Call, Mr. Tetindi, speak to us about the high-risk schools you have identified, as earlier pointed out by your colleague, your co-discussant, and what your center is doing, sensitizing these particular high-risk schools.
Yes, just as he has mentioned, if you look at the the new 2019 compendium of Nigerian National Security Strategy, it includes the traditional rulers and the religious leaders. It is one area we are working towards to, where since they are included into this security architecture, we discovered that the traditional rulers and the priests and their various communities, their ways are like laws to their followers. So to manage conflict, to manage disputes before they escalate to serious crisis, this set of critical stakeholders need to be looked into. We are talking to them to manage these situations. Most of the crises you see, they start from the villages. They start from the communities before they escalate to what you are seeing. The Boko Haram thing you are talking about, there are people within the host communities. They started these issues and nobody talked about it. Before you know it, escalate into something big. So we are talking to the traditional rulers, we are talking to the priests. And there's another strategy. The school itself, which is the end user, need to form a school safety, security, and response team. This team will comprise of the vice principal, a counselor from the school, a health personnel, one of the students, and a community member, which will be part of this team. They are to work together to ensure that the school is safe. They are to work with the center by giving us information and intelligence on how their school is faring at a particular time. It's one key strategy because these are the people we can really get this information from. So the school needs to set up this team within that base to ensure that they have that cordial contact with us at all times. So this is one area we have been discussing with them, we have been talking with them, we have been giving out our contact, which is very key. We need to synergize together. You need to know who to talk to. And this time around, they are talking to us. Another strategy is that all schools need to be registered on our platforms, on our websites. We have a security OCUMAP system where if you report a situation, we can quickly detect your position, that's the coordinates of that school. Wherever you are, we quickly respond to such emergencies. That is one area we're also looking at. There is one other function I would like to mention of the center. The center provides a forensic evidence-based response coordination in collaboration with other security agencies. This is one area we need to also advocate to these people. Where a crime is committed in a place and somebody has left that scene, have gone away. With this center, it is impossible. If you have committed a crime, we use forensic evidence to catch up with you. So we are talking to them on these areas.
Okay. The school-based security committee, which you mentioned that you are sensitizing schools about.
Yes, the school is...
What you have met on ground, does it indicate that they have formed such committees?
Yes, some of the schools have formed such teams. But as I earlier said, it's a program that is coming up, especially in the state. We are still talking to them. There is a focal person in this program in the state. We are working hand in hand with him. We are synergizing. And I think by now most of the schools have registered. They're on the platform. Because the last time I met him, he said he has given them the website. So I think they have registered.
Okay. Let me come to you now, Superintendent of Call Ejeliku. to speak to us about the multi-stakeholder engagement they're talking about with regards to how the command, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps Benue State Command is collaborating with the various stakeholders involved in tackling this challenge.
Oh, that's one area that the Corps has massive strength in the area of synergy and collaboration. The way the center has been patterned out is a multi-stakeholder approach where you will have the military, the army, the air force, and the navy. You will have the DSS, you have the Nigerian police, and other security agencies. Then it's also expanded to also cover civil society organization because they are also a critical stakeholder in providing a safe school environment. Then the issues about even subnational governments, state governments. We told you earlier that the case of Benue is standing out because His Excellency Reverend Father Dr. Hyacinth Yomen Alia, from the launch of the Safe School program here in Benue on the 19th of July, 2023, he has been so supportive. In fact, at the passing out parade of the Safe School response team, he was forward to give us his word, and a lot is already been done. So this approach, we expect that while the center cross-fertilize every issues, every intelligence information, every security agency within their domain, we also drive it. The way NSCDC is driving it, we expect that the Nigerian police will also drive it because the center, when constituted, it's a project that is already ongoing, where we have desk officers for every security agencies, for civil society organization, for even schools and cops. We need to send representatives so that as we get intelligent information, what should, the strength of security agencies varies from their composition. It varies to their wherewithal, their the availability of logistics. Even it varies to their location per time. So we expect that where NSCDC is not responding, I'm talking about NSCDC, I'm talking about our officers and men,
yes,
are not available to respond to a particular, the Nigerian police should be able to respond. The Nigerian Immigration Service should be able to respond. Benue is a very special state. This is a state bordered with a country. This is bordered around Kwande to Cameroon. We are bordered with so many subnational states. We are bordered to Cross River, to Kogi, to Taraba, to Nasarawa. So it's a whole lot of issues. When you were talking about high-risk schools within these border areas are very high-risk schools, especially for those that does not have the basic things we have identified from the vulnerability survey. So stakeholders, we have tried engagement at the national level, at the level of the state, to engage and bring everybody on board. The last time I was on Benue television with the ANCOPS president, and we had opportunity to experience some of the collaboration. So it's a massive strength that this project is putting on the table. The NSCDC is just like a center who will coordinate the entire process. It is not owned by us. I want to take that illusion away. It is not owned by the Corps. We are coordinating. We are standing in to provide the platform where other stakeholders will come on board on how we can provide safe learning environment for schools, particularly here in Benue State.
Okay. We'll explore further issues. Dear listener, you've been listening to Perspectives on Agate Radio, and it's about time for us to start engaging with you. We are discussing sensitization on safety of schools in Benue State. Joining us to Lead the discussion is the Public Relations Officer of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Benue State Command, Superintendent of Corps, Michael Ejeliku, is with us. We also have the Coordinator, State Response Coordination Center on Safe Schools of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Benue State Command, Deputy Superintendent of Corps, Naka Tetindi. You can also phone in to make your contribution or ask questions. The number through which you can call is 081433599292. 081433599292. Once you connect with us, tell us your name and where you are calling from. Then go ahead and make your submission. Keep your question or contribution very brief. Or if it's a question, also ask. We'll respond to you. Let's start taking calls already. Waiting on the line. And hello, good morning.
Good morning, I'll get radio.
Good morning to you.
Thank you. This is Oradwan Amos calling from Wadata here in Makodi.
Thank you, Oradwan Amos, for joining us.
All right. Please, I want to say thumbs up on the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. There is a popular axiom which says problem shared is problem solved and prevention is better than cure. From the analysis I've heard so far, I want to commend the NSCDC for the wonderful job. But my question is that in Nigeria, where you report issued, the other administration talked about a whistleblowing policy, then the people will target hate speech. So in that very scenario, how will they be able to reconcile whenever people are saying something, calling to report certain issues, whereby people say it's hate speech? How would they reconcile that? Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, Oradwan Amos, are you there? Oh, okay, he has hanged on already. I wish he could tie the hate speech to the issue of schools, but anyway, we will try to respond to him as we go along. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning to you, sir. Welcome to the program.
I am Andachi Gabriel from Majakwa, Doctor.
Thank you, Mr. Andachi Gabriel, for joining us.
Now, regards to the girls in the house.
Yes,
in fact, I pray that God will keep their life for the plan He has for our children in the country. Like what we are discussing this morning, I thank Target Radio for bringing out this opinion. You know, people say that life is better than any other thing in the world. Without life, you can't do anything. That is why we always depend on the prevention is better than cure. If something happens to you because you want to cure it, and if you prevent something from happening to you, the later is the best. Not too much talk that it can matter. Most of the discussion centered on the perimeter fences around our schools. I support that also, because these security officers, some are vulnerable. They are not to God, because these people come off a sudden. They don't inform them before they are coming to visit all these places to kidnap our children. If to say they are informed, they could have been ready. But they take them off a surprise. And when they come, they do what they like to do. And they go away with it. So perimeter fences, as I support it, is better. Even if the federal government can postpone the school feeding, they have that money to build enough perimeter fences around all our schools in the country. I support that and it go more better so that our children can be saved from all these bad things that are happening in the country. Now, we are not happy. Those of us who are elders, we are not happy at all because our children are in the school. And when they go, our man they hang up until they return from the school before our man comes down. So I thank Agate Radio for bringing up this morning, this topic this morning. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Andachi Gabriel. Thank you for your contribution. And you see how it worries parents. Mr. Andachi telling us that when children go to school, the mind of parents is up until they are back. So this really calls for concern. But let's speak briefly to the earlier question posed by Oradwan Amos, even though I know it's not directly linked to our subject, but let's have your thoughts on that, Mr. Ejeliku.
Thank you very much. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps have a mechanism. You know, we live with the people. Now, one of our strengths is intelligence gathering. Now, we have what we call the anonymous informant boss. I tell people all the time, you know, there's this fear around that when you give certain intelligent information to security agencies, they will give you out. But the core has not been patterned in that direction. We want to encourage people for the fear of being seen. You know, there's this issue that has to do with people. For instance, if a Mr. A provide an intelligence, an actionable intelligence on a particular crime happening somewhere, and arrest is effected, sometimes they go to town to say, they go to their friends. Oh boy, that guy say, I was the one who communicated. So you don't give yourself away. So if Amos is listening to me, he should be rest assured that we have a system that protects our informant, because our strength lies in our intelligence information. So we keep that sacrosanct and we don't give that away. So there's no question of somebody will give you out and you become a target point. So I think that's where he was driving to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Oraduan Amos, I hope your concern is noted. If you have any information of any impending attack, feel free to share with the call. Before we conclude the program, definitely we'll be requesting you to avail us the lines or hotlines or whatever platforms the public can reach you to report suspicious moves. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah. My name is Yoshi. I'm calling from Asto.
Hello. Hello, good morning. Yosende Oshi, are you there? Hello? Yosende Oshi, you are on, but we can't hear you. Try to call back. The line to call is 0814-33-59292. 0814-33-59292. We are discussing sensitization on safety of schools in Benue State. Also, the line for messages is activated already. 09126999404 is for messages and WhatsApp chats too. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning to you.
Yes, I'm Ezra Lupe Daniel, calling from Modern Market.
Okay, thank you, Ezra Lupe. Modern Market in Makodi, I suppose.
Yeah, yes, in Makodi.
All right, thank you. Ezra, please go ahead.
Yes, I want to first of all thank the guests in the studio for doing a good job. But I will advise them to extend this to at the community level, because most of these crimes are going on as a result of community. They are coming up emanating from the community. So for them talking about school and leaving the community out is not really good. They should advocate for community safety and also have the same structure that they have in place to secure schools, to ensure the security of our community down to the neighborhood. That will help us, because I understand that they are using a non-kinetic approach, which is the best at this time around. The security system in our country has been more of reactive. They have not been proactive in nature. Most of the times when this happens, before they intervene. But the structure of civil defense, and I really want them to work hard, because in Benue State, they should know what is our challenge. The killings in our communities are going on. They should have a structure on ground to respond quickly to some of these attacks on our local communities. It will help us much, and that will go a long way in the school safety they are talking about. Thank you.
Thank you, Ezra Lupe. Thank you very much for your charge to the call. Okay, we have listened to the concern by Ezra Lupe. He mentioned community engagement, but we'll still talk about the stakeholder engagement, where the community also comes in, before we make progress. Hello, good morning. Morning to you. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, we're with you. Your network is breaking. Kindly change your position and move away from your radio so we can hear you better.
Okay, sir.
Hello. Speak to us. You are on. Oh, so sorry. He hung on the phone. Okay, let me come to you, Mr. Naka. Earlier on, we talked about the stakeholder engagement, which your colleague pointed out basically on the part of sister security formations. But at the level of schools, But how about the stakeholders involved in schools and also the communities where the schools are located? To what extent are you engaging with them in terms of collaboration on safety of schools?
Yes, as I earlier mentioned, I said when you look at the composition of the school safety response team at the school level, one of the community members is part of it. And the safe school approach is a whole society approach. Everybody's involved. The security agencies, the teachers, the learners, the traditional rulers, the market women, the vigilance. Everybody is involved. It's not just for the schools alone, but as well as the host communities. So what you do to the schools also go down to the host community. So they are part of the whole process.
Okay, and in what ways in particular are you engaging them with regards to even offering, like you listen to Ezra Lupe, the sensitization, because the community itself needs to be actively involved,
Yes.
right?
There's no school
Yes.
in Nigeria that is not situated within a community. There's no school hanging on the tree.
Very well.
For any school to exist here in Benue, it must be situated in a community. Now, if the community is not safe, the last caller was apt in his charge to the NSCDC. Once you guarantee the safety of a community, of course, the school, the totality of the human existence within the society, within our community is. Now, to answer your question directly, the multi-stakeholders approach, the role of every community member is to own every school within their community. How do you own the school? It's not because I have my child in a particular school that the safety of that school should be my concern. Community should be able to, the authority of this school, we want you to provide certain facilities within the school. That's a way they can engage. That's one of their contributions. Even community vanguards, in terms of having security set up. Earlier, when we started the program, I wonder, pre-colonial African society is not militarized. We don't have this number of security, but security was something that was working. How was it working? Somebody told me, if you see anything working, somebody is working it. So members of this society, this community, must own the schools within their community and say, this one, we have a responsibility to ensure that this school is safe. It's not that somebody. Now, the coordinator talked about for a terrorist, for a bandit to operate in certain, there must be collaborators. There must be somebody to show them the way around. There must be somebody to volunteer certain information. For instance, if a bandit wants to strike a school, God forbid, in Benue, if the bandit is not within the territorial boundary of Benue, it's going to look for a collaborator to furnish him with certain basic information, things about the vulnerability of the school. And this can only come from a member of a community, of a host community. So people, members of the community, have a duty to promptly collaborate with school authorities when issues of perceived a threat. For instance, if somebody is around Agan toll gate as we speak.
Apologies, I will interrupt you very quickly for this call. I'll come back to you. Hello, good morning.
This is Edamboka.
Hey, Edamboka.
I greet all of you in the studio.
Yes.
My perspective is that the majority of our leaders are so busy. In fact, the other day I heard somebody on Radio Nigeria was saying that the typical politician is always eyeing the next election. So it means that most of the time their minds are set on what are we going to do right now to make sure that we get to that point and win again. So you find that majority of ordinary citizens have hardly find you. Sometimes they can give you a complimentary card with a good number on it, 1, 2, 3. You call them, no response, day in, day out.
In fact, even some of the security officials, you find that they give you a number, maybe you go to a DPO or you go to some, and then you sometimes you find it, you may very lucky to have a response. Yes, they may have a patrol which is a general one, and you may call where that one you find it. But sometimes some of this is you want a secret communication with a top person, and then these top people in our society, both politicians and security operatives, seem to be so so they like to immune themselves to keep themselves out of because anyway maybe because some of them are scared that people are coming to beg them for money and blah blah. So, but the truth of the matter is that once you are a leader, they say the uneasy lies the head that wears the crown.
Okay, Edambao Khan. So, could you tie that to the safe schools, in the safety of schools in Benue State we are talking about, and conclude?
Well, I didn't get your question very well.
Okay, I'm saying, having laid all this background, could you tie it to the sensitization on safety of schools we are talking about?
Like me, I'm living here.
Yes.
Down the lane close to international school. There's one down the other side to my left, one up this way to my right. If I see something, there are many things you see in these days that sometimes you don't feel excited because first you call and you will not get a response, or the person, if you go and tell the person on one, you discover that the persons they appear to be scared themselves. People who should be in position to say, me as a chairman, or me as a councillor, or me as a, you expect that the person will take the lead. If you feel a little bit scared to get to the security operatives, they seem to be uninterested. Sometimes they seem to be more scared than you. So I think that it's sensitization must begin with the people who have the mandate, because government's major mandate, as we keep saying, is to protect life and property.
Okay.
As even the core boss in your office at the beginning of the program.
Okay.
So they must come out of that life of persistently worrying about politics to the nitty-gritty of governance.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Edambao. You didn't tell us where you called from anyway. It's off already. Okay. That is Edambao Khan's concern that sometimes when the issues are reported, they are treated with levity, although it's an allegation subject to be proven. But let me come back to you, Mr. Ejeliku. You were giving us your thoughts. You were about to conclude your thoughts on getting the community involved.
Yes.
If an external aggression is to be launched, for instance.
Community members,
yes,
just as I said earlier, have roles to assist schools within their domain,
yes,
to thrive better. In terms of providing assistance and information and support to the school, even forming community security vanguards, volunteering themselves to be part of the Safe School community security team. By doing this, the community members would have been contributing in one way or the other to, and I was stressing the point that for an attack to be launched to a school within any community, there could be collaborators within the community. So members of the community have a duty to resist the temptation of becoming an enemy within. So what we need collaborators within, not enemies within.
Okay. And so far, are you seeing in your engagement that you are getting collaborators within as you go about the coordination of this center?
Massive cooperation, massive collaboration. And if this is sustained within going forward, I think we should be able to say, schools in Benue,
okay,
will have the safety that the National Safe School program is all about.
All right. Deputy Superintendent of Corps, Aka, let me come to you now. In your coordination of this center, how aware are the students and pupils aware of security issues?
As I earlier mentioned,
Before you expand on that, just hold
Yes.
your thoughts on that briefly. Let's
Yes, sir.
engage with some calls waiting on the line, then we'll come back to you. Hello, good morning.
Hi,
Yeah, this is our first female caller. This sounds like good morning.
good morning.
Yeah, we're glad you joined us. Kindly let us know your name and where you're calling us from. Hello. Hello. Hello, good morning.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, you are on. Let's listen
Yes.
to you.
I'm Peace.
Peace, who? And where are you reaching us from? Peace.
Peace PV. Reaching you from Lagos.
Lagos? Which part of Lagos are you reaching us from? Peace TV.
From Lekki.
Oh, good. Hi, it's Lakey this morning. Hello, Peace. Oh, it's quite unfortunate. Peace is off. Peace, we really would have loved to have your contribution all the way from Lakey in Lagos, reaching us. We are glad you called in. Okay, Mr. Naka, speak to us about the extent to which school pupils and students are aware of security issues.
Yes, so far so good. The schools we have visited, the the student, we have been engaging with them, we have been engaging with the teachers. So far so good. They are into it. They understand the basic security tips when it comes to school safety. And as we advance,
Again, I will interrupt you. I'm
yes,
so sorry. We have to some persons, several people waiting on the line. So let's engage with some before we come back. Hello, good morning.
Yes, I have to say about students.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, is this Peace that Peace TV back? Hello. Oh goodness, that's really sounded like the same voice we heard earlier. Please go ahead, Mr. Naka. I'm so sorry
yes,
for interrupting you.
through sensitization, we have been giving them forehand knowledge on how to behave when they're in the school environment, on how to conduct themselves, and what they see that is not normal, to quickly report to appropriate authorities. Even at their stage, we have created this platform for them to call. They don't just need to go to the teachers. That is why we have the school safety and response team at the school level. The student, a particular student, is a representative of that team. He has a right to put a call to us. So at this point, the schools who have visited, we have discussed these issues with them. We have given them some basic security tips when it comes to school emergencies, like hostage taking, when there's a fire outbreak, when you see somebody who looks like a terrorist, an unusual person on the school facility, you report to the appropriate channels.
Okay. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Please, can you present us to speak loud?
Can I?
Tell loud.
Okay, we are listening to you. You can speak to us. We are listening to you. Hello. Oh, quite unfortunate, Mr. Angelico. Is there something you would like to add to what your colleague said with regards the extent to which students and pupils are aware of security issues and what to do in event of any security breach?
The engagement has been very fruitful. It's all about providing the right information. From what the center has done from inception, we have a mechanism, we have a feedback mechanism, and that feedback mechanism, students and pupils are already responding in a very positive way in having to assimilate, understand what the security tips we have dropped with them. It's been massive. It's the response, the awareness that we have created from the feedback we have gotten from the schools, particularly the last 30 survey we did about the awareness, the advocacy we did just a week ago. we have the understanding that because we put them through questions, we ask certain basic questions during the advocacy. So the response is telling us that, oh, we have quite good number, percentage of students in Benue who have basic understandings of security issues around them. And that's encouraging because when you have with the right information, it shows that they have certain level of information. And when you have people with the right information, your job is easier for you to get it done.
Okay. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes, so I'm talking about people who know about security, like the students.
Yes.
So I think you try to interview some students from their schools.
Hello. Oh, goodness me. The network may be at your end because we were sure of ours here, but quite unfortunate that the network does not really want Peace TV to speak to us repeatedly as she's coming back online. Let's take some messages, then we'll come back. Okay, let's engage further. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Morning to you.
Yes, it's Oraduan back.
Okay, Oraduan, we're good. We're glad you called back again. Make it very brief this time.
Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity. My question is, in the course of their analysis, in one of their captions, it says that who not ought to be militarized. So at the end now, how do they engage the students on what they have, the sensitization they have acquired over time and their responses to know that truly what they are
Hello, Oraduan, are you there?
according to the student will not intend do it to the negative side. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. I don't know that they're at a point was a break in our communication, but of it. Good morning.
It's Harry Desmond calling from Northbound.
Hello. Oh, Desmond just wanted us to hear his name. Okay,
Yes,
please, Mr. Jaliku.
Before Desmond, the caller, Desmond.
Yes.
To know how we will assess the school, since we don't want to militarize the system.
Yes.
The non-kinetic approach revolves around not carrying massive weapon of war and assessing a school. We have pictorial evidences of how we, in the last 1 week, have assessed 30 schools within Benue State without causing any stir in the minds of the students. The vest the coordinator is putting on right now in the studio is a vest for the National Safe School.
Apologies, please. Let me interject. Hello, good morning.
Harry Desmond calling from Northbound.
Okay, Harry Desmond. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, you mentioned that the center will comprise different security outfits. But I have a fear. The fear is that these centers are comprises with different police, civil defense, immigration, custom, prison, and so on, both military. Are they going to function well in a country where every security agent, they feel superior to each other? Maybe police will bring their own report. It will not match with the one with civil defense. Civil defense will bring their own, it will not match with the military. Are they not going to be a conflict among the report?
Okay. Thank you, Harry. We'll respond to
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Harry, we'll speak to Harry's concern. Let's conclude on the militarization, the fears by Oraduan
Yes.
Amos.
So,
you were sharing your thoughts on that.
The deployment of non-kinetic approach means things like advocacy, sensitization. It's not necessarily a point where you carry arms and assess a school environment so that you don't put fear in the mind of the student. It's an advocacy process. Now, we have already trained the response team we have this. The core is structured in such a way that we have the response team that has already been trained. We have the female strike force that is already on ground. We have the agro ranger squad, and we have the spread. Now, any of this specialized squad of the service can be called to respond to an emergency. But when it comes to the advocacy, you don't see this line of operation so visible. That's to answer him directly. When it comes to talking to the student, when it comes to engaging in certain way, but when it comes to forestalling a threat, for instance, we have intelligence that a particular school is about to be, there's threats of adoption. Of course, we are going to deploy the kinetic
personnel.
means. Yes, we are going to deploy personnel to forestall such from happening. But when it comes to the issues of the advocacy, engaging the students, we will not send men in that format. We will always engage them in another format using the non-kinetic approach.
Okay. So I hope you have listened to us, or Adwan, and your concern is addressed. Hello, good morning.
It is about coming back. Please, one other thing that I'm feeling worried about this discussion, this being so low on militarization. Those of us who are elders and are seeing things with spiritual eyes, I don't know. We are seeing a situation where we in Benue, if we had the opportunity to train every child to be military, some kind of military training, that's the better. Because we see the borders of Nigeria are just as porous as we have continually heard.
Okay.
And we are told that even issues of mining, people are mining, and so they just come in. It's not sometimes it's not because they hate you, but they want to just push you out of your area so that they can do the things that it has been in public purview now. So every little child in Benue, you see Israel, I always remind you, there was this time they had all the troubles around them, and they had a leader who said, okay, every Israeli must, no matter who you are, whether you are a doctor, you are a lawyer, you are an engineer, you must have some military training. So that when there is difficulty, you are not just at that time struggling. Like the, what do you call it, my brother from the civil defense said, the United Nations standard, one security man to about 8. When shall we get there? And particularly we Benue were so disadvantaged. Most of these security agencies, we hardly have a good proportion of our own young people in those security agencies because of our lesser population maybe. But all said and done, I believe that we should not be scared of training our children as early as possible to be military. The only thing is that we must caution them, leave them with a mentality that you should not use these skills to mess things around.
Okay.
And just like you remember, used to be told that any soldier, you should know that you shouldn't beat a woman.
Thank you,
and you don't just go around beating everybody because of well trained and blah, blah, blah.
Thank
so
you, sir.
At the end of the day, I don't see why we should be sounding so low on the issue of militarizing our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In any case, the militarization we are talking about is of the school environment. That is the personnel going there as if they are going to a war and not necessarily.
So you don't frighten.
Yes, I think that is what
the student. You don't put an issue within their mind.
Very well.
Make
So
learning difficult.
But giving them tips on security, getting them paramilitary tips, I think you may have been able to do that, or you are considering doing it, whichever way. Harry Desmond from North Bank was expressing concern over conflict of interest given the multi-stakeholder engagement you talked about of border security personnel. Mr. Naka, he particularly asked us whether with this multi-stakeholder engagement of border security outfits, won't there be conflict of interests?
No, I don't think so. The National Safe School Response Coordination Center is a coordinating center. The NSCDC are there to coordinate the activities of other security agencies and other stakeholders towards efforts ensuring the safe school policy. And I want to give an example. The issue of having conflicts. You look at, we have other joint operations like Operation White Stroke. The Operation White Stroke has the Nigerian Army, the Navy, the police, the NSCDC, the DSS. And if you look at it, they are doing well. The Safe Haven, the operations in that. So I don't think we have issue in terms of collaboration with the center, collaborating with other security agencies. We are doing well. We work it. And don't forget, why we decide to collaborate, or the government decided that other security agencies come together, is that every security agency has a common mandate and expertise in some certain areas. So in the case of maybe negotiation, you need a particular agency that will do that for you. In terms of deployment of heavy military weapons, you know who to call for such rescues. So that is why the whole security agencies are harmonized, gearing towards safe school policy.
Okay, but when your reports come, you share them and there's no conflict of interest. That is what you are trying to tell us.
Yes, that's one of the function of the center.
All right. Let me come back to you, Ejeliku. Speak to us about the tips parents at home should give their wards, because this should start from the home front. What should a parent do in terms of even sensitizing their ward about basic security tips before they go to school?
Straight to the point. I'm a parent. Now, for my child, as he's leaving the house, he has the understanding that whatever he sees around him within his school, his classroom, that is not right, he has a duty to report to his class teacher. We need to put upon our children that consciousness that from that level, from that cradle, we should be able to tell them to begin to give out information. It has to do with their safety. For instance, when we started, the Safe School initiative is not only forestalling threats to schools. The issue is about even bullying. The issue of certain kind of teachers handling students, even student to student, are part of the whole initiative. And that was why the coordinator, why making his last take about the stakeholder
stakeholder engagement, collaboration.
There's no fear. Now, what the center is doing, there's a time when we get to issue of dealing with drugs. I'm aware, as part of what we are driving, the female strike force have gone out to speak to students on issues about even drugs. When we have it, when we have NDLEA to get engaged, and that's why they are there. So let me go back to what a child needs to know.
Before you expand on that, let's engage with this caller waiting on the line. Hello, good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
So sorry, your background is noisy. Could you? Hello. Okay, please, what a child should know. If you call us, move away from your radio and ensure there is some sanity in the background you are before we can engage, because this is a public platform.
So, a child should begin to know what are security threats to his or her life. For instance, if I'm sending my child to school, the child should know that nobody else picks him from school outside the designated individuals that should pick them. So when my child knows that, if I have not come to pick him from school, he will not avail himself to a stranger who is either a bandit or a terrorist who have come to adopt him. So they should have that consciousness that you don't just collect anything you see from a stranger. You know, children can be lured with a lot of things. So a child should be able to know that no, you should not take gifts from anybody around in your school outside the permission of your parent or your teachers or your guardian part-time. So this basic information, once they have this consciousness, now Tell them to be conscious about them. It involves the things they carry to school, their school bag. For me, when my children come back from school, I look at their school bag and I'm looking for certain items. So parents should have this consciousness of doing these things around their children. One of the callers talked about how to put the consciousness of a military consciousness in the minds of students. So when we do these things with our children, if every parent is doing it, when children meet in school, they have the consciousness and said, no, my mommy is the one that is going to pick me. So my neighbor who is coming to pick me, whether you know the neighbor or not, need to go through certain stages of clearance before you are picked. We have heard cases where students just get picked from school and it becomes an issue. So parents should let their children know that I am the one picking you. Mommy is the one picking you. Your auntie is the one picking you. If it is not these three of us, do not avail yourself to any other person. This basic consciousness, we need to let them have it.
Okay. I hope parents, you are listening to us and you are getting these tips to put them into practice. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning to you.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, let's know your name and where you're calling from, then you ask us your question.
My name is Sandra.
Angel who? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, Angel who, please?
Angel James.
Okay, Angel James, where are you reaching us from, Angel?
I'm reaching you from Benue.
Which part of Benue, kindly?
Otukpo.
Okay, thank you. Please, what is your question now, Angel James? Hello? Oh, so sorry. Angel James, that looks like a prank. Your name itself is sounding a prank, and location. What is difficult? This is a public platform. There's nothing should be too difficult for you to tell us your full name, where you're calling from, and then ask your question or make your contribution. This is a platform. The news can come from even your submission, your contribution. So feel free to share your identity with us. We are here not to harm anybody. This is issues about interest of the people we are discussing. So feel free to share your identity with us to make your contribution real and not to be shielding. Let's take some messages, then we'll come back. This one says, good morning, I Get Radio. I am Ogenye Bernard in Makudi. The issue of safe schools should be practical, not theory. The government should be able to fence all schools within the state, and every school should have at least one NSCDC personnel at the gate of the school, of all the school. Most times, even students invite outsiders to attack teachers or a fellow student who discipline them for wrong act because of poor safety measures in the school compound. Okay, thank you, Bernard, for that message. We have some more, but okay, let me come back to you, Mr. Naka. In the midst of all this, have you considered setting up the students on the part of the same engagement with stakeholders? Have you considered setting up school clubs with students on basic safety security clubs to give them some initiatives to further drive
I think I've answered
the program?
That question you asked before. In any of our engagement, we don't just engage the teachers alone. The students are part of it. And
what I mean is, are there existent school clubs on security that your center has put up so far?
No, not yet. The schools are to set up these school security safety response teams. It is at the school level. It is for the end users. They need to have that club. That is where we are going to obtain our information. That is where we are going to have the easiest access to most of this intelligence. We are not the one to form the clubs for them. The schools will form the club. And I've told you the composition of that club. The VP, the counselor of the school, the health personnel, One of the students will be part of it. One community member will also be part of that team. They will work with us. From time to time, we're going to be having mock drills with them. Drills like maybe how to respond to fire outbreaks, hostage taking, abduction. These are the kind of mock drills we're going to be having with those teams. And they will impact to their fellow students.
Okay. Angelico, you want to add to that?
Yes.
There's something you like to add in that regard?
Prevention. Let's stop it from happening. The conversation, I want members of the public to have this understanding that fencing of schools boundary with sufficient height wall and installation of security gates, doors to screen students, staff, and visitors when they want to enter, when they want to get access. In fact, we are recommending that there should be like 3 access gates to schools to ensure free exit in case of an emergency. It just talked about fire, where you have a school that has just an in and out. That's a security risk in itself. So the gate must always be manned by trained security guards. And we recommend to them train private guard security that has been trained by the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. Because during the training, what we do, we profile the guards. We have lists of companies that are registered with the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. The way our act is patterned and structured, it gives the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps the constitutional responsibility to train private guard security. It is another layer of security, though informal. So schools should be able to, one of the message talked about putting one NSCDC personnel. We recommend that it should be trained private guard security. Then provide conducive classrooms and hostels where you have boarding schools that has enough barrier, free access to different categories of able children, thereabout. Now, there are schools like boarding schools where we have sufficient electricity illumination. The access to be to the teachers alone. Now, accessibility to electricity equipment should be limited to teachers and technicians alone. Now, another thing we talk about, most of the schools, either there are no safe drinking water within schools, and maybe students want to stroll down line to get water. We are advocating that safe drinking water be provided in schools. Now, toilets should be made in a way that is gender sensitive. Now, playground must be free from dangerous objects like stones and broken glasses. Now, there should be hand washing points provided enough within schools. Now, we talked about the issue of the installation of closed circuit television. That's important because now the invisible man security presence is a closed circuit television camera. The invisible security man. So schools are encouraged. Those things, running a school, it's not a teacup business. Stakeholders within the sector must begin to know that it's not just for fun that you have a school. The school system should be patterned in the way that these infrastructures are made available. And many more of this. He was trying to talk about the issues about the school security committee. We recommend that it should be set up within schools to review security policies from time to time. Now, I look around here in Benue, people just access schools at will. No, even students access schools, come from home and just get into the school. Students themselves. So we recommend students should be issued access cards. Students should have access card.
Okay.
So now, kids, I was making that analysis a while ago. Kids should be taught to avoid talking to strangers, and teachers should be made vigilant. A teacher within every school in Benue should be made vigilant, should be conscious of the environment, conscious of of the students. Now, students should be allowed to leave the school premise only when they have a pass from the security post. We have schools here in Benue. Even they have basic perimeter fencing. They have a gate. You see their students roaming about. If you go out now, you see students roaming about. Now, when you call them and ask them, do you have a pass? Before I came here, I got a pass from my office. So let's do this with the school system so that people can be tracked, people can be monitored. Students should be encouraged to report any suspicious move or persons within school premises to the school management.
Okay. Thank you very much for those tips. We are gradually drawing our curtains on the program. Let me come to you, Deputy Superintendent of Corps, Naka Tetindi. This will be your parting words. Now, give us your concluding words on what to do to drive the implementation, the coordination of this Center on Safe Schools and make it more effective to serve schools. Then provide us the phone lines, hotlines, where the public can reach you to report breaches where they may occur.
Yes, thank you. Every hand should be on deck. The federal government, the state government, the local government, the host communities, the end users, every hand should be on deck to ensure that they provide useful information to secure our schools.
Okay.
The hotlines.
Yes.
The National Safe School Response Coordination Center hotlines and email. 091.
I beg your pardon. Are the lines of the national or customized for your Benue State Center? Or is okay?
We are going to give out lines that is localized.
Okay, fine.
We also give lines
right.
that are localized. 091 698 54689. Let me take it again. 091 698 54689. That's one of the line. Then we have a toll line 0800 interior. Interior, I mean
that's in word.
In word.
Yes.
0800 interior. That's one. Then an email address that anybody listening to us can send, get information across is contact@nssrcc.gov.ng. contact@nssrcc.gov.ng. Then we have a website. The website is nsxrcc.gov.ng. Let me take it again. The website nsxrcc.gov.ng. Now the localized line.
Yes, which is the most important. The one for the Benue State Command,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Yes.
The localized line is 080 655 10540.
Kindly take it again.
Okay. 080 655 10540.
Okay.
At every call, you get somebody to attend to you on that line. Then the second localized line for the command is 080 67 46 6810. Let me take it again. 080 67 46 6810.
Okay.
Now, with these lines, the public is assured that prompt response will be given to any form of complaint.
And they are available 24
they are available
hours.
24 hours.
Thank you very much. This is where we must conclude on today's edition of Perspectives, and I hope you, dear listener, you may have taken one or two things away on the basic security tips on the safety of schools. We focused on sensitization of on safety of schools in Benue State. We must appreciate our discussants on the program, the Public Relations Officer of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Benue State Command, Michael Ejeliku. Thank you very much, Pierre, for coming on Perspectives.
Thank you, my brother.
We are grateful also to the coordinator, State Response Coordination Center on Safe Schools of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Benue State Command, Deputy Superintendent of Corps, Naka Tetindi. Thank you very much, Mr. Tetindi, for your time with us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Dear listener, we appreciate your listenership, your contributions through phone calls and text messages made the program worldwide. We couldn't take all the calls because we needed to allow the conversation to flow at some point in time. Bear with us for calls that we are unable to take. Perspectives will come your way again on Friday with another edition to focus on another issue. My name is Nathaniel Nongo. Endeavor to join us again on that Friday edition, and kindly stay tuned to our Gate Radio. Have yourself a great week. Goodbye. Kindly stay tuned to our Gate Radio.